Well, I want to thank everybody. I do love Virginia. I love Virginia. Man, what a place. What a place. You know, I have a lot of people that work really hard. I pay them a lot of money, probably too much money, but that's okay, right? And I have the vineyards in Charlottesville. You know about that. And in Loudoun County, I have Trump National, which is a tremendous success right along the Potomac River. Probably no piece of land like it. It's phenomenal. And we've had tremendous success in Virginia. We have a lot of people that work for me. We have a lot of people, frankly, I work for them the way I look at it. Because the truth is, they're so good that I actually need them more than they need me. Does that make sense? So it's one of those things. And you know what I did? Where is Carrie? Where is Carrie? Get up here, Carrie. Come on. She's so incredible. She runs the vineyards. It's Trump Vineyards. You know what it is. A lot of people go. In fact, one of the drivers was telling me he goes there back and forth all the time, bringing people. But Carrie Woolard runs it, and she has done such an incredible job. We took it over about 4 years ago. It was, to put it mildly, in serious trouble. It's close to 2,000 acres, and it's one of the most beautiful. It's the largest, actually the largest vineyards on the east coast of this country, the largest. And it's become an incredible, incredible tourist attraction. And Carrie has literally from day one, I mean, she's taken it, and it's with love and with pride. And I'm proud because, you know, one of the things, and I have to say this, that Ivanka said you have to say it. My wife said you have to say it. And I think you'll confirm it, Carrie. But I have more women in high executive positions. In fact, it's true. It's true. In fact, the men in my company are all complaining. Is that okay? The hell with them, right? But I have so many women. Carrie, just say a word. Tell them, do you like Trump? The best.
If you want someone who inspires greatness and demands excellence, this is your man.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you. She has done such an incredible job. Thank you, Carrie. You know, when I have a place, and it's usually I have a lot of them, but when I go to certain areas and if I have something that I'm very proud of, I like to bring the employees. We have some of our employees here today from the vineyards, but I like to bring the employees up because it's so important, especially when you're looking at what's going on with a country where our jobs are being taken away. They're going to other places, as you know, like many other countries. I mean, you can name the country. We don't make good deals anymore. We just don't. And so when I'm around one of my places, I love to bring my people up. I love it. You know, we had some big news today because I just have to talk about it. We get such a, you know, in the old days we'd call it misinformation. Do we agree? And we're going to talk about the debate. Anybody watch it last night? Yeah. And I tweeted. Can you believe? And I made a commitment. I said I'd tweet, so I couldn't turn it off. I had to tweet this thing. And somebody said on one of the networks the winner was Trump because we picked up 160,000 followers. Do you believe it? 160. And second place was a lot less, I will tell you that. One of the folks on the stage. But, you know, so today, CNN came out with a poll, and the poll was in the state of Nevada. They came out with another poll in South Carolina, which is an incredible place. Both incredible places. I said, I have to read some of these because this is wild. So we're in first place everywhere. I mean, you're right. That's true. Actually, that was good. You really helped. He said everywhere. I said, yeah, you're right. It is everywhere. I mean, it's Texas. We're in New Hampshire. We're in Iowa. We're in first place everywhere. But the polls just came out. And as you know, a couple of weeks ago, we had Florida. And we're just killing in Florida. So you have a governor and you have a sitting senator. and it's not even close. We're at 28, 29. They're in the teens, low teens, and we want to keep it that way. We're going up. I'm not even happy with when I hear 29 now. I'm saying, gee, we should do better, because here's what just happened. So in Nevada, we're at 38. Think of it, 38. Second place is 22. I won't even bother telling you. It doesn't make any difference, because when you have 38, you're almost doubling it up. But here's the thing that I loved about the poll. Again, done by CNN. South Carolina, we're at 36 to 18. You believe that? Connecticut just came out 34 to 14. But here's what I really like. Which candidate can best handle the economy? Okay? Thank you. Well, that one's big. 67% said Trump. Can you believe it? Now, you got to remember, you know, if we had two people running and you had 67%, that would be a landslide, right? That's a landslide. If you won with 67%, the press, look at all those cameras going back there. So many. So many. And look at all the red lights. Show the crowd, everybody. Show the crowd. Show the crowd. And you got a lot of people outside that the fire marshal would not let in. So it's one of those things. But I will tell you that when you have 67% in a two-person race, that's called landslide. That's called massive victory. I don't think there's ever been a victory. And here we have on a thing called the economy. Would you say that's important? I think so, right? So 67% are in favor for Trump. Okay. We won the state by a lot, meaning in the polls by a lot. Now, a couple of these categories, I have to read them. Illegal immigration, important. We're going to build the wall, okay? Believe me. We're going to build the wall. %100%. And, you know, so we're going to build it. It will be paid for. Who's going to pay for the wall? Who is going to pay for the wall? That's right. So, the next category, which is so important. That's okay. That's okay. Don't worry. That's all right. That's all right. That's why we have freedom of speech, folks, you know. And I'll tell you how dishonest the press is. We have thousands of people in this room, 7,000, I think 7,200 people. We have about 10 people over there. They'll get the headline. You won't. That's pretty disgusting. Pretty disgusting. But that's the way it goes. So illegal immigration, 55% want Trump. 13% is second place. That tells you something right there. 13%. 13%. On social issues, Trump is first. On foreign policy, Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you very much. But it is true. I see a couple of cameras for about 4 people, and they're going wild, the cameras, you know. It's so disgusting. But that's all right. On foreign policy, Trump #1, 34%. On ISIS, who's going to handle ISIS? Trump, 46. We're not going to play games. We're not playing games. We're not playing games. On the change on how we do in Washington, on the change, how are we going to change Washington? Who's going to do the most effective job? Trump, 60%. 60%. Here's an important one. Best chance of winning in November. Trump, #1, 47%. Amazing. So we're #1 at 42nd, and then you get into 16 and 10. That's a big difference. So we've all come a long way together. We've all come. And, you know, we have a lot of bad people out there. They want to stop progress, and you see it all the time. And I use the statement, the silent majority. The silent majority is back, folks. The silent majority is back. The silent majority is back. So, over the last period of time, we have had a very interesting thing happen. We've seen our country where we don't win anymore, and we're going to start winning so much. We're going to win left, we're going to win right, we're going to win everything. We have unbelievable people in this country, and nothing is going to stop us from starting to win again. You look at what's happening with foreign countries. You look at how they're taking our jobs, how they're taking our base, how they're taking everything we have, including our money. You look at what's going on with the foreign, no matter what country you're talking about, they beat the United States. It's not going to happen anymore. It's not. Our trade deficit with China is almost $400 billion. $400 billion a year. A year. And then I see our president entertaining the heads of China and talking about our great trading partners. Yeah, they're a great trading partner for China, not for us. Our deficit with Japan is $70 billion a year. The cars pour in. We don't know what we're doing. We sell them practically nothing, relatively speaking. What we sell them is beef. Beef. They sell us cars. You go out to Los Angeles, you see these ships, the biggest ships you've ever seen, and the cars are pouring off. And they have no respect for us. And our trade deficit with Japan is almost 70 million. Think of this. Think of this. Japan, $70 billion, which is absolutely crazy. Now, we go to Mexico. I love the people of Mexico. I love Mexico. They're great people. I have thousands and thousands of Hispanics working for me. Thousands. Thousands of Hispanics. And in fact, in Nevada, the same poll, I win with the Hispanics, which everyone's surprised. I win with the Hispanics. So our trading deficit with Mexico is $45 billion a year. $45 billion. Now, I'm going to build a wall. It's going to be really a wall. It's going to be something special. Nobody's coming in other than if you come in legally. But here's the thing. Everybody said you can't build a wall. And I say Mexico's going to pay for it. They say you can't do that. You can't do that. How can they do that? So if the wall costs $6 billion to build, and you know, we're talking about 1,000 miles. It's 2,000, but you need it on 1,000. The Great Wall of China, think of it, is 13,000 miles. It was built 2,000 years ago. We have a wall that has to be built. We have problems coming in like nobody has ever seen before. It has to be built. Has to be built. Whatever anybody said, just remember this. Almost everybody wanted this wall built 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago. The liberals, the conservatives, everybody wanted it. One of the reasons it wasn't built is because they couldn't get an environmental impact statement approved. You believe this? All right? We're going to build the wall. Mexico's going to pay for it. Now, the people, the stupid people, say Mexico won't pay for it. We give Mexico billions of dollars. We have that trading deficit of almost $50 billion. We're talking about a 5 to 6 to 7. If you go Rolls Royce, you go. We're talking about from $5 to $7 billion. Who couldn't get that money? They're going to pay it so gladly. They're going to pay it so gladly. And I will say this. I speak with our politicians, and I speak to them all the time. But I speak to them loud and clear, and I know who I'm dealing with. And a lot of them are nice people. But they say, Donald, you'll never be able to get them to pay. And I realize they're not the right people to do the job. Because with the right messenger, they will pay so happily, so gladly. They're taking advantage of us at the border. They're taking advantage of us with trade. They're very good people, but their leaders are smarter than our leaders. Our leaders don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. We have a situation where a mother is pregnant. She goes to the border. She walks across the border right in front of our Border Patrol, who are great people, but they're not allowed to do their job. She lies down. She has a baby that they call anchor babies. She has a baby. Now, we're responsible for that baby for 85 years, okay? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. We can't do it. We owe $19 trillion. We owe a number that's almost inconceivable when you think about it. So we owe $19 trillion. We can't be in a position where we're doing what we're doing anymore. We just can't. We have to rebuild our country. We have to rebuild our infrastructure. We have to repeal and replace Obamacare. Have to do it. Have to do it. Have to do it. Obamacare is going to cost us more money than anybody would have ever dreamt, and it's no good. It doesn't work. Your premiums are going up 55%, 45%, 60%. Your deductibles are through the roof. You can be dead and never get any of the money. Your deductibles are so high. So we're going to repeal Obamacare. We're going to replace it with something that's going to be terrific. And it's going to be terrific. It's going to cost our country very little, and people are going to be able to have their doctor, have their plan, pay less money. If they're sick, they're not going to have to worry about a deductible being so high that nothing works unless you get hit by a tractor. So we're going to do that. We're going to do so many different things. We're going to make our country great again. We're going to make it so great. illegal immigrants. They're suggesting, listen to this, they're suggesting Social Security for illegal immigrants. So we're going to straighten things out. We're going to do it the right way. We're going to bring immigration under control. We're not going to have a situation like Kate, beautiful Kate in San Francisco. This guy comes in 5 different times. It could have been much more than that. After the 5th time, she gets shot in the back. We're not going to have it anymore. We're going to have a situation that's going to be rational, reasonable. We're going to keep in the country when somebody goes through a long process with college. They go to Harvard, they go to Yale, they go to a great college. University of Virginia, great college, right? Great, that is right next to our property. We love them. That's a great college. But they go to University of Virginia. They do fantastic. They do just great. And they're so proud. And they're from another country, but they want to stay here. And we tell them, get out. You stayed here. You have to go home. And then there's a case in India where a man opened a company, wanted to stay here. He ends up opening the country in India. He now has 5,000 employees. It's one of the hottest companies in the world. And he would have been here. He would have been here. And that's what we want. We want to keep people here. We want people to come in legally. And I say, and so importantly, and I'm saying it all the time, we want to have a big door. We want to have a big, beautiful door right in the middle of that wall, and we want those people to come in. They've got to do it through a legal process. If we don't have a border, and we have people all over this country, we have no idea where they're coming from, we don't have a country. We no longer have a country. It's very simple. And we're going to do it with heart, and we're going to get along with people, and everything's going to be great, but we're going to have a country again. We're going to take back our country, and we're going to start doing things properly. When we have countries like the ones I named, and many others, and we have people that take advantage of our leaders because they're not smart, they're incompetent, they're stupid, or they don't care, that's going to end. I have the greatest minds on Wall Street. I have them already lined up. They're calling me. These are the greatest negotiators in the world. They're calling me. Carl Icahn, great. I have all of them. I have the best in the world. They don't want money. They don't want salaries. They're rich. They made it because they're great negotiators. They want to come and they want to see our country be great again. They're proud of our country. Some are nice people, some aren't. I don't care. I want the greatest. And I know the best. I know the smartest, the sharpest. I know people that are overrated. I know people that are better than all of them. And we're going to bring them in. And we're going to bring them in, and they're going to be in charge of one, China. Let me tell you about China. First of all, I love China. The people are great. They buy my apartments for $50 million all the time. How can I dislike them, right? I tell it to everybody. I have the largest bank in the world in one of my buildings. It's from China. I mean, this is a bank that makes Citibank look like this big. I love China, but they've taken advantage. I wish it were turned around. I wish our representatives took advantage of them. I think that would be great. I think that would be great. But it's a one-way street. It's a one-way street to poverty. For us, poverty. We can't do it. We're in a bubble right now. Believe me, we are in a bubble. We have a phony statistic on jobs. We have 100 million people in the workforce. They want to work. We have 100 million people. We have tremendous levels of poverty. We have welfare all over the place. And these are people, in many cases, they want to go out and get a great job and be proud and take home a lot of money. But we can't because we're losing all our jobs. We're losing them to other nations. We're losing them to stupid policies. This trade pact, Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's believe me. If it was good, I'd say, I don't care if Obama proposed it. If it were good, I wish Obama were a great president. I don't care. Then I wouldn't have to run. I love what I was doing. It's true. I love it. I love it. So true. I'd love if he were a great president, where I say, wow, he's a great president. I'd vote. I'd be his greatest fan. I don't care, because what I want is what's good for the country. I don't want to be doing this. I'm actually having fun because I'm so energized. I go to these crowds. You know, we went to Dallas. We had 20,000 people where the Mavericks play. 20,000 people. We go to Oklahoma 2 weeks ago. We had 20,000 people in a park. We go, no matter where we go. We went to Mobile, Alabama. We had 35,000 people. No matter where we go up to New Hampshire. We have the biggest crowds. Iowa, the biggest crowd. South Carolina, we had something 2 weeks ago. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. A friend of mine actually said, how do you do that? How do you make speeches in front of so many people? And you don't have teleprompters, Donald. I notice you don't. I don't want a teleprompter. I don't want, right? I don't. It would be so much easier. It would be, think of it. You have your teleprompter, right? You walk up. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to be in Virginia, where you have all sorts of great people. And you do. By the way, when you talk, you really have the Hall of Fame. You know, it's true. No, you have the Hall of Fame. You know, I told my guys, I said, look, I'm here. I employ a lot of people. I have a lot of property. It's great. But just a couple of things. I mean, this is a real Hall of Fame. Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death. How good, right? How good is that? Oh, I want to come up with a slogan as good as that. How about Make America Great Again? I don't know, you know. It's great. It's great. But I still like give me liberty or give me death. That's very good. See, I want to get the word again off that eventually. You know, I want to get the word, he just said you will. I will. It's not even going to be that hard. It's not all it takes common sense. It takes business ability. And we're going to treat people well. You know, I say I'm a conservative with heart because we're going to have that great health care program, but we're going to take care of everyone. We're going to take care of people. And people are going to pay much less and get it so good. We're going to take care of so many things. But I like to say conservative with heart because a lot of people think if you're Republican, you don't have heart. You're mean. You're horrible people. It doesn't work that way. I've gone over my plans and somebody said, oh, well, that's not conservative. You know, it's sort of interesting. You have a group called Club for Growth. I talk about it. Club for Growth. I never even heard of it. This guy comes up to my office, right? And he sits down. Nice guy. I think he was an ex-congressman, so he knows how to talk. That's all they do is talk. They're all talk, no action, except for the politicians currently in this room, of which we have plenty. They're great. In fact, Dave Bratt. Where's Dave Bratt? He's great. And I was just with his family and his children and his wife, and I tell you, he's done a great job. There's a guy, he shows you can do things. I mean, who would have thought that? That's never happened before, what he did. So I just give him a lot of credit. But I have to go. Okay, so Patrick Henry, we talked, great, right? Then you have Thomas Jefferson. That's pretty good, right? Thomas Jefferson, man. Then you have James Madison, principal author of the Constitution. That's pretty good. And then you have George Washington. That's pretty good, right? George Washington, you know. It's pretty amazing, you know. When you think of Virginia, just pretty amazing. So I tell the stories, and I love these stories because it shows how important it is. I'm self-funding my campaign, okay? I'm the only one. And I see all of the guys that are competing with me, and some of them are nice, although some of them have hit me really hard. I mean, you know, they're asking me for contributions, and then as soon as I run, it's like a couple of them. Like Perry, he went wild. He was a nice guy. Governor Perry. Didn't work out too well for him. But he really hit me. And then Lindsey Graham, I thought he was a nice guy, but he hit me. He made speeches about Trump because they want to get their numbers up, not working. And every case has gone down. They've all gone down. Man, can you imagine if I'm president? Everybody that plays tough with us, they're all going down, right? That's nice, right? But I look at what's going on, and I see so much, and I see the way the politicians are controlled. Don't forget, I was the perfect person. I was like central casting, because before I ran, I was on the A-list. I contributed a tremendous amount. I got along well with Democrats, with liberals, with conservatives. That was my job. Somebody said, but you gave money to a Democrat. Of course I did. I get along with everybody. One of the magazines said he's a world-class businessman. You can't have fights. You got to get along. I was told by Hillary in a speech recently. I was told same day by Jeb that we don't like his tone. His tone. I built this incredible company, and I built it. And you'll see, because a book comes out on November 3rd, which is your election day, by the way, so go out and vote. Make sure the right people get it. So important. It actually comes out. It comes out on election. It's going to be great. It's actually a tough name, Crippled America. It's a tough name, but it tells you how we're going to fix it and how we're going to go about it. But I'm self-funding. It's so important. I was in Iowa a few weeks ago, and I said to the people, I feel so foolish. These people want to give me millions and millions of dollars. And, you know, it's sort of like anti-me. It's like, why wouldn't I take it? I always take money. That's what I do. I take money. That's how you become rich, right? And these guys know. Millions of dollars. So I said to the group and we had 5,000 people in an auditorium like this. I said, look, here's the story. I feel a little bit stupid when I don't take all this money. I said, supposing I take it, just supposing, and I promise I won't do anything for them. And they all stood up and they said, no. I couldn't believe it. I thought I talked them into it. But the truth is, I love what I'm doing. I love that I'm self-funding because I'm not controlled by anybody. I'm not controlled. Controlled by you. And I'm controlled by you. I'm going to do the right thing. And you've heard me talking about the Ford plant. Have you heard that story? The Ford plant. Because I love it. But Ford, you want it again? Should I do it again? I just think it's good. So Ford closes a lot of plants. They're building a $2.5 billion plant in Mexico. It's all right. Except what do we get out of it? And they're going to make cars and trucks and parts, and they're going to send them into the United States and other places. How does that help us? We all go to I went to Wharton. You all went to good schools. And if you didn't go to good schools, if you never graduated from high school, you know it is not good for us. And a $2.5 billion plant in Mexico, that's a big plant. So they're going to suck our jobs away. They're going to make cars, trucks, and parts in Mexico. And I said to myself, what would happen if a Rubio or a Bush or a Hillary were president? So here's what happens. They would know it's no good. They would all know it's no good. And they'd say, no, we can't let that happen. And the following hour, they'd be called by a lobbyist who gave them $5 million. They'd be called by the special interests that gave them $10 million. They'd be called by one of their donors who owns stock in Ford or whatever, who gave them $1 million. And they'd say, Mr. President, you can't do that. They were very helpful in your campaign to become president. You can't do that. And you know what's going to happen? He'll say, or she'll say, I have to do it. And they'll say, no, you can't do it. And he'll say, okay, I won't. And the plant is going to be built. Now, let's do the other alternative. Trump is president. They haven't given me anything. Okay, let's assume. So I call the head of Ford. I say, I wouldn't even use my guys for this. This is too easy. Honestly, it's too easy. So I call the head of Ford. I say, you're building a plant. You're going to employ thousands of people, but you're not employing people in the United States. You're employing other people. And I think that's fine. But tell me how we benefit. He'll be unable to explain it. Believe me, he cannot explain. Not to me, he can't. Believe me. I'll say, listen, I want you to build a plant in Michigan, or I want you to build a plant here, or I want you. I don't care. I want it in the United States. I don't want to lose. I'm tired of the jobs with NAFTA and all of these crazy deals we make. I'm tired of these jobs, the new one that we're just trying to approve. I'm tired of these jobs like a vacuum cleaner. They suck the jobs out of the country. They suck our money out of the country. We have nothing. We have nothing. We're like a third world country. Our airports, our roads, our bridges are falling down. 61% of our bridges are in trouble. Do you believe this? We drive over a bridge, it's in trouble. So I would say to him the following. I won't use his name because he happens to be a very good guy. But I would say, let me just tell you something. I want you to build it in the United States. I don't want you leaving. And if you do leave, and if you insist on leaving, you're not bringing those cars over free. You're not. You're not doing it. Remember the trade deficit. Remember here we're talking $45 to $50 billion a year. You're not bringing those cars over free. We're going to charge you a 35% tax on every car, truck, and part that you bring over. Now, I believe in free trade. I'm a free trader. But I also want smart trade, and I want fair trade. It's got to be fair trade. Free is good all over. But it's got to be fair so we can compete. So what happens is the following. He will call up and say, no, 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 we won't do that, Mr. President. I'll then be hit by every person I know in Washington, all of whom have given me nothing. In fact, I've given most of them, the lobbyists. I know all these people. But now they'll call, and I'll say, no, 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 we got to do the right thing. Then I'll be called by everybody else, but I haven't taken their money. I owe them nothing. I only owe you people. I owe you in particular with that wonderful location. Right? And I'll say the following. I'm saying, no, we want you to build that plant in the United States. It's going to be built in the United States. They'll say no. I guarantee you within 24 hours, probably by 5 o'clock that afternoon, assuming it's made at 12. They like to call around lunchtime so they can have a drink and convince the politicians what to do. Assuming the call is made at 12, probably by 5 o'clock, they will say, yes, Mr. President, we've agreed, we're going to build in the United States. The only thing that could change is they're pretty tough negotiators, so it may take an extra day. They may wait till 5 o'clock the following. That's the only thing. They can't do anything. We have the cards. See, what people don't realize, Obama thinks that they have the cards. We have the cards. China has created one of the greatest thefts in the history of the world. It's true. They have sucked our economy dry. And if you want to do business in China, and I have many friends that are manufacturers, and I love these guys, and they're great manufacturers, and they call me all the time, they cannot get their product into China. They can't do it. And when they do, there's a big tax. And we're like the dummies. Oh, bring it in, just flood it in, come on in. And then they do their currency manipulation, which is one of the reasons that the trade pact doesn't work. Hillary Clinton was listening to my speech. She was in favor of it 44 times. And then yesterday, 2 days ago, she came out against the trade pact. You know why? Because if she has to debate me, she knows she's going to get killed on that pact. Killed. And I have to hand it to Hillary Clinton. You're going to all be angry. I have to hand it to her. It took great courage for her to go against President Obama on the trade pact. You know why? Because maybe she gets indicted. Because she is being totally protected by the Democrats because what she did is illegal. And you look at General Petraeus. He did 5%. A friend of mine very familiar with the whole subject, with the emails. General Petraeus did 5% of what she did, and they've destroyed his life. Other people have done far less, and the life is destroyed. So the Democrats are just protecting her. There's no reason for this. Now, I'd want it to go a fairer investigation, let everything be fair. But what's happened is absolutely crazy. So let's see if she might have done okay last night. She did. She did okay because nobody attacked her. Nobody attacked her. There was no attack. You know, in my debate, I hate to say because we're live on CNN, they're going to want it, but in my debate, they said, Mr. Trump, what do you think of this that the man next to you said? And then they go to him and they said, Donald Trump called you a horrible human being. How do you respond? It was like a reality television show. Whereas last night, they'd ask a question, they'd get an answer. They'd ask a question. With me, everything was an attack. It's crazy. And yet every poll said I won that debate, so I'm very happy with that. But every poll, Drudge, Time Magazine, Slate, every poll. But it was a whole different story. So we have to do something about that. Let me give you one other quick story. Nabisco, Oreos, right? Nabisco, right? Oreos. They're closing their big plant in Chicago. They're moving it to Mexico. I'll never eat another Oreo again, ever, ever. So I'm going to talk to them. I mean, I don't want their cookies made and sold. I just don't want it. It's unfair to us. Chicago is losing this large plant. It's going to another country. We have a thing called corporate inversion. That's where companies have trillions and trillions of dollars outside of the United States, okay? Trillions. They think minimum $2.5 trillion. I think it's much more than that. It's covered in my tax plan, corporate inversion. We have people and we have companies. You know, in the old days, they'd move from New York to Florida, from New Jersey to Texas, whatever. Now they move from the United States to foreign countries. They take all those jobs. But, you know, there was a guy. Any baseball fans in the audience? We got some good guys. Okay. Did anybody ever hear of Charles O. Finley, the great Charles O. Finley, right? The Oakland A's. He had the lowest payroll in baseball, the lowest payroll, and he won the World Series 3 times. He had Reggie Jackson, sold him to the Yankees. He had Catfish Hunter, sold him to the Yankees. George Steinbrenner, who was one of my best friends and a great guy, he used to say, this guy's brutal. Donald, he doesn't spend any money, and he's like killing us. And George would always buy his players, but he bought them at the top, you know. But George did just fine. George did great. George was great. But there's a guy, the lowest payroll, now think of it, by far, in baseball. And yet he had the best team. And he won 3 World Series, I think, in a row, right? Charles O. Finley. There's something beautiful about that, to me. To me, there's something beautiful about that. So we'll spend whatever we have to spend. I mean, one of the things that happened that's so incredible, I did Meet the Press. Nice, Chuck Todd. He had his highest ratings in 4.5 years. He called up our office. He said, thank you. Can you believe it? I saved his job. I saved his job. It's true. It's true. And I did the same job. I did This Week with George Stephanopoulos. They got tremendous ratings. The other shows were dying. They were dying. This is 2 weeks ago. But they asked me a question, just to show you it's so terrible. They said, Mr. Trump, now you got to understand, leading all the polls, getting the biggest crowds, everybody's going crazy. They said, Mr. Trump, is there any way that you'd get out of the race? And I said to myself, now think of it. Who would be asked that question? One of the commentators said, who would be asked that? If you're in first place, would anybody else but me be asked that question? Is that terrible? So they said, is there any way that you'd get out of the race? And I said, that's a strange question, but I thought I'd give a very honest answer. And I said very, very honestly, look, we're number one, but if we weren't, and if everything went down, the polls, the crowds, if you don't call anymore because you don't want interviews because it's over, like some of the guys we're running against. I mean, honestly, if I was some of those guys, what's the purpose? I don't know. Do they gain something by having zero? Do they gain something and going in a debate? They call it the children's debate. Guys like Pataki, he's got 0. Guys like Rand, I hate to say it, he attacked me. He was much higher when he attacked, right? But he went down. I mean, so many. I don't want to use names. I refuse to embarrass anybody. Okay. But so I said to him, so if for some reason everything just tanked and I went down, I'd certainly consider it. Next day headlines, Trump considering leaving. It's so dishonest. And actually it took a couple of unbelievable polls to stop it. It took a couple of unbelievable polls, which I get all the time. I said, wait a minute, I didn't say that. But they put out stuff, and it's so false and so disgusting. And remember this, much of the press that I've met have been terrific people and honorable people. I've met some amazing people, like 30%, okay? Then you have 30% who are okay, and, you know, they do their job. But you have, I'd say, 10 to 15 to 20% who are truly bad people. They're dishonest. They're horrible human beings. They know it's not a question of being lazy or anything. They actually go out of their way to write false stories. And somebody asked me today, I did an interview today, and they said, what's been your biggest surprise? I said, I don't know my biggest surprise, but my most pleasant surprise is how brilliant the public is. They get it. The public gets it. They really get it. But it's been tremendous fun. I was going to tell you before, so a friend of mine said, how do you do that? How do you speak? No teleprompters, no this, no that, and you just speak. I say, it's amazing. And by the way, no disrespect, but every place I go, you would love these people. Whether it's Alabama, whether it's Dallas, whether it's all of the Oklahoma, it's like all the same. They're incredible people. You're incredible people. They want to see, it's true. It's true. They want to see our country be great again. They know it can be. They want to see it happen. They want to see victories. We don't win with anything. We don't win with ISIS. We don't win with Iraq. We don't win with Libya. We don't win with Yemen. Wait till you see that. And they are going into Saudi Arabia, folks, in case you had it. And by the way, we will defend Saudi Arabia, and we will defend them for nothing, even though they make $1 billion a day. Those days are going to stop. I ordered 4,000 television sets recently. They come from South Korea. South Korea makes a fortune as a country, a fortune. We defend them. We have 28,000 soldiers on the line. And we have this maniac on the other side. We have our soldiers right between. They pay us like nothing. We defend Germany. A lot of people don't even know. We defend Germany. They're a behemoth economically, a behemoth. We defend them. We defend Japan. Free. They give us nothing, relatively. They give us like virtually nothing. We defend them. And you say to yourself, why? And here's the thing, interesting with Japan. I love Japan. It's great. Well, let's work. But work something out. Help us out. Give us something. We can get rid of all these deficits. We can make. We can make. True. And then you have the stupid people say, oh, you can't ask for that. They're a sovereign nation. Sure they are. They got to help us out. But here's the deal we have with Japan. We will defend them with our lives, with our money. We will defend them to the death. If they get attacked, we will fight. We have to fight. If we get attacked, they don't have to do anything. That's right. That's like Sergeant Bergdahl. We got a guy. It's true. No, it's true. We have a guy, 6 young people, great people, were killed looking for him. We get Bergdahl, they get 5 of the great killers that they've wanted for 10 years, right? These are the deals that we make because we have leadership that doesn't know what the hell it's doing. Now, in the old days, with Bergdahl, who was a traitor, it was treason. You shoot him, he gets shot. You've been reading the news over the last couple of days. They think he won't even get jailed. You've been reading the news over the last couple of days. they think he won't even get jail time anymore. Well, you know, he had some psychological difficulty. They don't really know what happened. Wasn't feeling so good. We are just heading in the wrong direction. So, you look around at all the people that are here tonight, and you remember, because it's happening. Things are happening. It's a movement. It's a movement. It's absolutely a movement. I get calls, and I was going to tell you, from a highly respected guy. He said, Mr. Trump, could I ask you one question? Reporter, one of the biggest. How does it feel? I said, how does what feel? What you've done has never been done before in politics. You're an outsider. You came in. They call it the summer of Trump, right? I hear that. I mean, it's, right? They said it's never been done. And this is the top guy. He said, never been done. How does it feel? I said, I'll be honest. To me, it doesn't feel anything because unless we win, I've wasted my time. And he said, no, you haven't. What you've done is incredible. By the way, that was a while ago. He still hasn't written the story. I think he's afraid to write the story. You want to know the truth. But he said, what you've done is incredible. And I said, I understand what you're saying, but I'm telling you, unless I win, meaning unless we win in the primaries, and we can't have these politicians any longer, we just can't do it. We can't do it. We can't do it. All talk, no action, no ability. They've got one ability. They've got an ability to get reelected. That's their only ability. That's what they have to do. They have to get reelected. So I said, and I told him, if I don't win, I consider it to be a massive failure. That means primaries, that means win the election. Because otherwise, hey, we've all had a lot of fun, but nothing's going to happen. I watched Hillary last night with, we're going to give this, we're going to give that, we're going to give that. The poor woman, she's got to give everything away because this maniac that was standing on her right is giving everything away, so she's following. That's what's happening. This socialist / communist, okay, nobody wants to say it. No, in all fairness to her, she's standing there listening to this guy. He's going to tax you people at 90%. He's going to take everything. And nobody's heard the term communist. But you know what? I call him a socialist / communist, okay? Because that's what he is. So then you see her stand up. Now it's her turn. And she goes, oh, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to do that too. I'm going to do that. Because you got to win. Because she's not doing so well. And in a head-to-head poll, they just did that. I beat her by 5 or 6 points. I love it. I love it. But we have to be careful. So here's the story. You're going to look around. You're going to remember this night. Because as a very important person told me, this is not just crowds gathered. This is a movement. There's a movement going on. When you're leading by 20 and 25 points in all these states, when you're leading in South Carolina by 20, when you're leading in all of these places, Nevada, and leading with the Hispanics, because they know I create jobs, and they're here legally, and they don't want people taking their houses and running all over the place. They want what they have, and they want it to get better, and they want jobs. So when we're leading by 20 points, 25, one of the polls had us 40% above everybody else. That's a massive number. Those are massive numbers. And as this person said, this is a movement. This is no longer we're playing games. This is a movement. You know, they all said, oh, he's never going to run. He's got a wonderful life. Yeah, I do. But they said he's never going to run. Then he'll never file Form A. Form A is where you sign your life away. I signed Form A. Then they say, oh, he'll never put in his financials because he's probably not as wealthy as people thought, right? So I have almost 100 pages of financials. Then they said, oh, he'll put them in, but he'll put them in way late. So I put them in ahead of schedule. I could have had many months after that. By the way, some of these guys that I'm running against, they put them in late. It's a 1 page. And they're late. They needed extensions. It's a true story. But they say he'll never put in his financials. And I was so happy to put him in. In fact, if I didn't run, I might have put him in because I like to tell people, I did a good job. You know? I did a good job. So I put in my financials, and all of these guys, the pundits, I call them the talking heads. You know, they get paid. They don't know what the hell they're doing, many of them. So they're all devastated because they said he wasn't running. He'll never file. He'll never this. He'll never do that. So I put in my financials, and it turns out that my company is much bigger, better, stronger, better, like much bigger than anyone ever thought. It's fantastic. Like we even come down here. We have the biggest winery on the East Coast. We have the great land on the Potomac River. They don't know that. You people know it because you're from Virginia, but no matter where I go, I have property coming out of my ears. It's true. And I have very little debt, great cash flow. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because that's the kind of thinking we need in the country. It's true. That's the kind of thinking. Thank you. If you think of some of the countries we talked about, if you think of, let's say instead of losing in terms of China, let's say instead of losing 350 to 400 billion a year in trade deficits, let's say we broke even, okay? Do you know what that means? Does anyone have any idea what that means? Let's say instead of losing with Japan $75 billion a year, let's say we broke even. Let's say they agreed to take more of our product so we can equalize. Not that it's a one-way street, and it's easy. And we have the cards because we can say, we don't want your cars anymore. I'm sorry, we have all the cars. They wouldn't know what to do. So we're going to do a job. I give you my word. I don't care about my company. It's peanuts compared to what this is so much more. I have wonderful children, Ivanka, Don, Eric. My kids are wonderful. My wife is wonderful. But my 3 older kids that I just mentioned, they'll run it with my executives. It doesn't mean anything to them anymore. It doesn't mean. It's peanuts. I want to save this. I want to do such a great job. I want to make you people so proud of this country again. So proud. So proud. So, look around at all the people here. Look around at the people next to you, because this is a special night. We are going to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you.